Welcome back to Life Beyond Locks. My name's Ashley. Today I'm here with another wig from RPGShow. They sent me a wig last spring and it was very much like a ashy brunette to blonde color. So this time when they said that they were going to send me another piece, I asked for something completely different. Now I'm not exactly sure what we're going to be getting here, but it should be about a single colored brunette shade. Like that's kind of what we're going for. And I asked for something to be a lot shorter. So the first piece that I had was very long. You can go back and see that video if you'd like. Lots of length, lots of really beautiful color. For this one, I was hoping that I would get something a little bit shorter and a little bit more less dimension, because I just thought, why not try something completely different, and then we can see kind of the spectrum of what they have to offer. So RPGShow, this is a budget-friendly line. You're not going to spend a ton of money compared to some other companies. So we do have to keep our expectations sort of in check, knowing that we're going to be spending a lot less, but we still get beautiful packaging and lots of goodies inside the box. Okay, so this is the wig here. And inside the box, you end up with all kinds of things. So if you do, this is going to be a glueless wig for me, I think, but if you decide to glue it down, then you can use this to hold your adhesive, like allow it to set. There is an information card, which surprised me last time, and it includes all of the details of the wig that you have. So you don't have to consult the website afterwards if you're curious to know some of the stats about your wig. It's all going to be included in the box, which is, I don't think I've ever seen a company do that before this. Wig cap, and then a storage bag for your wig. Oh, there's also scar tape, and this one I like because it's quite long. Sometimes they're a little bit shorter, so you can have like an extended parting area by using that. Okay, let's look at this wig. So the lighting in here, the sun hasn't come around the house yet, but there's windows on two sides. And so it's making it a little tricky for me to make it out perfectly, but it looks to be like a reddish brown color. I don't know if that's how it's pulling for you on camera. I think it is, with a bit of a root. We're looking at what I would say is a medium to dark brown root. Now the rooting, I'm gonna take it out before I make a comment. The rooting, I think, is relatively subtle compared to some others that I've seen in the past. I'll get really close here for you to see. You can see there that there is rooting throughout. Okay, let's take a look at the inside of the cap. So this is the inside of our cap. We've got a generous lace parting area. They do a beige colored wig cap. You have a back comb, which I absolutely love. This helps if you have a flat occipital bone like I do. Don't mind the scrunchie in my hair. It's my daughter's and I found it on the table and I needed something to tie my hair up with. But I have a flat occipital bone, so I put a low bun and then I put my wig grip around, and then this can just hook right in, which is so lovely. Okay, so the details on this, I'll let you know. Oh, wow. I think that they did a very big bleach job. Can you see that? So you can see the knots, but they're bleached. So they're not going to be super visible once it's on my head. They're quite bleached. Now it does cast a bit of an orangey shadow, but that's okay because a little bit of blue shampoo should clean that up. And it won't be that noticeable once it's on my head. Okay, so the details of this piece, the wig cap, I had noted as being nude, transparent Swiss lace, and it is very transparent. You can see that on my skin. If you're about my tone, it's going to be good. Deep bleach knots, 16 inches. So this is going to be a very generous 16 inches. They said it's silky texture, which it does feel to be right now. Their Maxipart is a 10x6 glueless Swiss lace closure. They're calling it 180% density and size 1, which is going to fit a circumference of 21.5 to about 22 inches. So for reference, I'm 21.25 inch circumference, 11 ear to ear, 12 front to back, and I have very little bow hair, but I do have a scrunchie, so it's going to add some bulk today. So let's take a look. I would say that just off the bat, I don't think that this is a super heavy density. It's not going to feel overwhelming, but it is enough that when I move the hair at the back, and this is kind of something that you want to check maybe with wigs, is low density wigs. I love them personally because I like to tuck my hair. I don't love a lot of volume. And when I'm making recommendations to women who are new to wearing wigs, I always recommend low density because it's going to look the most natural. If you go from having very little hair to tons of volume, it's going to feel like a lot for you, and you're more likely, if you're already self-conscious about wearing wigs, to feel self-conscious. But this one has enough density that I really kind of have to dig. Do you see that? I had to really dig for the wefts to show. And so it's like not heavy density, but it's enough that you're not going to be exposing wefts, which is definitely a concern for some of us, myself included. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and cut the lace before I even put it on, just because, yeah, I want a realistic look at that hairline. So let's do that. Let's cut the lace. Truth be told, I actually freehand my lace cutting most of the time, which sounds terrifying to, I think, a new wig wearer. It definitely would have sounded terrifying to me at the beginning, but it just gives me more control, I feel like, and I can get in closer, especially because I'm not wearing my glasses right now. In any case, I went ahead and cut the lace. Now, I didn't cut it as short as I would like to have it in the end, but short enough that I can really get a sense of the wig and how it feels. So one thing that I didn't say is that this large parting area is going to mean that for some of us, we may require a little bit of glue, but we'll only know once we try it on. So let's see how this wig does. I also just want to point out really, before I put this on, how beautiful the layers are. They did an excellent job of creating, I just think, some beautiful layers throughout. You can see there's curtain bangs in the front here. An actually excellent job, especially for an overseas company. I love that. And one more feature that I failed to notice initially, and this is so cool. Normally your adjuster tabs are hook adjusters, but this one and this company, they have these drawstring adjusters. You see that? So you can kind of cinch in at the back of your wig. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that right away, because we know that I have a flat occipital bone. We know that I have a small circumference for the size of this wig. So I'm just going to do that and see how it fits. Okay. You know what? I think it's actually a pretty good fit for the size of my head. Almost even. The ear tabs sit a little high. Okay, I'm going to go adjust this in the mirror and I'll be right back. Okay, so I didn't end up adjusting it at all. I actually really like it where it is. Okay, here are the things that I'm noticing right off the bat. I already kind of talked about some of them and some of them I didn't. One is the cut. I really love this cut, and I will say, in my experience, this is the best cut. I want to make sure that I'm being truthful here, but that this is the best cut that I've ever experienced on a true budget-friendly wig ever. I mean, it's obviously in a curly state, so I don't know what it looks like when it's straight, but I just feel like this cut is really well done. I wouldn't have to do anything to it. And for me, and maybe for you, that's really important, because I don't have a stylist that I trust with my pieces. If anything, I'm going to cut it myself, which is not very good. So to have something that I feel like I can wear out of the box because the cut is a good cut is just so important to me. I care less about length than I care about a good cut. If I feel like it's just ready to wear, the style, you know, is easy enough to achieve with some waves or whatever, because that cut is good, that's so important to me. Okay, so I really love it for that. Number two, I love this color. I just looked in the mirror and it's about to be fall here where I live in Canada, and I think that this is the perfect fall color. It's so rich. It's just beautiful. Like, it has definitely warmth to it. It's borderline red. But it's still in the brunette family. So I think the color is lovely if you want to play around for fall. Personally, I don't love rooting. I like a balayage, but I don't love rooting. However, I feel like this wouldn't stop me from getting a wig if I wanted a wig in this color, especially if I'm wearing it in the evening, if it's going to be for like going out for dinner, going out for drinks, going out to an event. I feel like evening lighting is always so much more forgiving. You wouldn't even notice the root. I really had to move forward and look into the mirror to see it. So it is a dark root, but it is not as harsh as I've seen. But if you don't like rooting, that might be a factor for you. I don't know. But the trade-off here is like, this color is amazing. You could also ask them in the notes section to just do this color, but no rooting. So just bring this color right to the top. And I don't know if that's something that they can do. It would make sense to me that they would be able to. And if they can, that would be amazing, because this color is, I've never had a human hair wig quite like it. Okay, the other thing that I'm loving is the parting. So I am not wearing that scar tape on the underside right now. I didn't put any powder. I'm not wearing a wig cap. Like, I have brown, dark brown hair, and still this, I think, looks like a really nice hairline. Part of the reason for that is because they did a deep bleach on the knots, and the knots were dark. And so it did cast, as I mentioned when I first unboxed it, a little bit of orangey kind of tint on the part line. But when I look at myself in the camera here, I don't think that it looks bad. So I will be able to get rid of that, as I said, with washing. But for me, I don't think it's like a big deal. And we always could put in a scar tape of the right tone if we wanted. But I actually think when I'm looking on camera here that this part line looks really natural. I'm also not a huge fan of over-plucked hairlines, personally. I like them dense. Sometimes I feel like when they're sparse, they can look, even though it looks really realistic from far away, when you get up close, that lace is more noticeable. But I think that they did an excellent job of just plucking right here. Like, I don't know, I just feel like I'm looking at you right now on the camera, and I feel like it looks super natural at that part line, which again, for a budget-friendly company is pretty awesome. The tie at the back, I love that. It feels, so I'm gonna be honest, I feel, and I'll show you the sides in a second, the ear tabs, but when I first put it on, I thought the cap was a little bit too small for me. But the truth is, with this cinching in, it just actually fits really snugly. Like, it's not gonna go anywhere, but it does sit higher up on my hairline here. Now I do have to trim this lace back a little bit. You can see that right there. And then I can blend my own bio hair. So my own personal everyday piece that I wear, the ear tab hits a lot more forward on me. And this one doesn't. But what that does mean is that if you have bio hair that you want to blend through, this is going to be a really good option for you, because that ear tab fits really nice and snugly to the sides of my head. But then I can pull out this extra hair and then do an ear tuck. And when I trim that lace back, you're not going to see it at all. Like, not at all. This ear tab is going to be invisible. And so that's going to give you a lot more of a natural look, but also a natural feeling. If you're an ear tucker, which many of us are, the ability to just do this, and one, it's also really flattering, right? To have part of your hair forward and part of it back behind your ear. It just makes it feel and look more natural. And you're really going to get that because this ear tab is it's not overly thick, it's not overly bulky, and it does sit further back. For me, it's going to take a second to adjust to that feeling though, because I'm used to them sitting forward more. This one sits further back on me. So just be mindful of that, but I actually really like it. I don't feel like this wig is going to move. I feel like it's in place very well, and it's definitely glueless. Like, there is no need for me to apply any glue there with even my small head. So it's not lifting in any way. It's sitting super flush. The ear tabs on the back of my ear, they're hitting, I wish I could show you, they're hitting pretty close to my ear though. So it's like, it's short on the front here and it hits low on the bottom there. I mean, you can move it up, you can push it up with your fingers, right? Just push it up if you want more space. But what that does mean is I feel like it's really secure. So yeah, I love that. Okay, let's do a full spin, and then we'll talk about what we're gonna do to this wig to really, you know, see how the quality holds up. So let me just do a full turn. There we go. So I love to do a wash test. I think that that's always the thing that really shows you what the wig is going to look like when you get it home, because we of course are going to wash our pieces over time. We want to know, how do they air dry, and then how do they take heat? Can we restyle them to look like this again with relative ease, or is it going to be a bit of a challenge? So if you stick around, I'm going to clean it, I'll come back and we'll take a look at it together. Well, I am back, and I gotta say, now that it's been washed and styled, I'm really starting to love this piece. You know, sometimes there are pieces that come to you and they're just like, they just feel like you right away out of the box. And then there's pieces that you need to wash them and style them, and then they become your piece. Now that it's washed and styled and I have it on, I'm like, yeah, this looks like a wig that I would wear. This style that they put in there looks like a a cut that I would wear. And I actually want to talk about that for a quick second while it's on my mind, is the cut. So I am terrified of cutting my own curtain bangs. And I often say I'll do it in pieces, and I have done it before, but I've also messed it up. And so, and as you know, if you've been with me for a while, I don't have a stylist that I work with here in my city. So if I want to make a cut, I'm going to cut it myself. I love when a company just sends me a piece pre-cut, ready to go. And they did. And it's a budget-friendly company. So to see such a great cut in it just makes me so happy, because, you know, it's ready to go. Like, look at this. So we've got cute curtain bang, and it's kind of like that stacked, I don't know what you would call it, layer. So it really just face frames so beautifully. It also adds some lightness to the front, which I think is really important for me when it comes to wigs. Sometimes I see women who have like long layers in a wig and it just looks so good on them. But for me, for whatever reason, I feel like every time I have long layers, I feel like it's a dead giveaway that it's a wig on me for whatever reason. Maybe it's the shape of my face, or maybe it's just what I'm accustomed to, but I always feel like a little bit of layering at the front just goes such a long way. And the fact that they sent this to me with a cut already in it for a budget friendly price is chef's kiss. So obviously, when we're looking at this, we have to keep in mind that it's budget friendly. We can't be comparing it to something that's worth 2, 3, 4 times more, 5 times more. We have to be realistic about our expectations. But if you are in the market for something that is affordable, this definitely could be on your radar. In terms of how it dried, it felt like there was a little bit more wave to it, a little bit more frizz than another piece that I had dried simultaneously. And it's interesting because when they were on the bed, my husband looked at the one and he said, this one feels like a finer, softer hair. And this one feels like coarser hair. Like, I don't know. He wasn't sold. But then when I went to curl them, and I don't use products when I curl. So I always am sort of doing the same kind of test. Like, I use the same shampoos, the same deep conditioner, the same heat spray. Like, I always use the same things, the same tools, so that like we're really comparing apples to apples. And when I went to heat style this one and I let it cool, I put it on, this is what it looks like. I am so happy with it because I wasn't sure how that hair was going to turn out when I saw it in its air dried state, but I didn't do anything fancy to it. I didn't apply any heat other than my Conair curling iron from a million years ago, which doesn't do the best job of curling, but this one took a curl beautifully. And I think it styled really nicely with very minimal effort. I was on the phone with my dad at the same time. I was totally distracted, just threw some curls in, and this is how it turned out. So I'll do a full turn and then we'll take a look at that hairline again and we'll be on our way, but I want you to see the full thing. Also, I realized that there's a tear in my shirt. So I only realized that after I started filming today, and we're gonna roll with it. I've only worn this shirt for filming too. Winners did me dirty. Okay, we gotta take a look at that front hairline. So yes, you can see knots for sure, but keep in mind this is budget friendly, and also keep in mind that I have nothing in this part line right now. So I haven't done anything fancy to it. So normally I would add scar tape, I would add powder, I would do all the things, but I wanted you to see like, what does it look like truly, just, without any effort. And this is what you're gonna see. So yeah, we've got some knots in there, but I would say without anything, on the part line, and it's on top of my ash brown hair, I think it still looks pretty good and pretty realistic. I'm struggling today with words. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you want to see more from RPGShow. Are you loving the budget-friendly pieces? I know that I definitely am. It's nice to have them in your rotation. It's nice if you want to try a new cut or style to have something that's actually affordable. You can wear this for a night out and just feel a little bit extra glam too. This is the kind of piece that's great to start with if you're just looking to get into wigs, right? And you don't want to have the big price commitment. You don't want to go for something that's really high end and put in a ton of money because you don't know if you're going to like wig life or if you're going to wear it all the time. Or you, like me, are worried that you're going to ruin it in some kind of way, then this is the perfect piece to have because it does look really beautiful. It does elevate the look. It does make you feel glam and pretty. And it was very easy to style and manage for human hair. So there you go. Thank you to RPGShow for sending it over. I really look forward to seeing more from them. Just make sure that when you're ordering, that you communicate what it is you'd like. They do take custom orders. They are willing to make changes to the existing stuff that they have on their website. So be mindful of that. You can put things in the notes, but then also, you know, be realistic in your expectations. And there's two camps on this. Some people will say that that's kind of an unacceptable school of thought when it comes to purchasing hair, that you really need to be getting exactly what you want. And some people like me are a little bit more flexible. And I think you need to know yourself as a buyer in what you're looking for. But for me, if I can get something that is, you know, makes me feel good, that's beautiful, and I can do it at a really good price point, then that's good for me. And that might not be you, but if that is you, then this is probably a piece or a company that you might want to keep on your list of possible places to consult, because it really does have a lot of options at a lot of affordability. So anyways, that's it. Thanks for being here. Let me know in the comments if you have any feedback, if there's anything that you'd like to see, if you have any questions. I obviously strive to do better and better on here, so I really do value those comments, those conversations. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for being here.